I received the best question on a discovery call recently, and I wanted to record an episode right away so that I could answer it for you all as well. So today we're going to talk about websites and social media, and I'm super excited to chat. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. As you all know, I am a big fan of Jane App, the all-in-one practice management software that offers a fully integrated payment solution called Jane Payments. Although the world of payment processing can be complex, Jane Payments was built to help make things as simple as possible to help you get paid, and it's so easy to get started, and it is the best, let me tell you. It makes things so easy. Here's how you can get started today. If you head to jane.app/payments, you can book a one-on-one demo with a member of Jane's support team. This can give you a better sense of how Jane Payments can integrate with your practice by seeing some popular features just in action in a live call. If you know that you're ready to get started, you can sign up for Jane and you can use the code LEX1MO, so LEX1MO, for a 1-month grace period while you settle in, which is a total game changer, let me tell you, because you can set everything up while you're starting to use it, especially if you're switching from a different EMR. Once you're in your new Jane account, you can flip the switch on for Jane Payments at any time, and ideally, as soon as you get started, because then you can start to take advantage of Jane's time and money saving features. And it only takes a few minutes and you can start processing online payments right away. No waiting period. What? This is amazing. Jane's promise to you is transparent rates and unlimited support from a team that cares. And I can attest to that because Jane's support is incredible. So check Jane out. I promise you will not be disappointed. So let me dive right in here. The question that I got answered was, I have a website, but I don't necessarily know how many people find me through my website. They usually find me through social media. So why should I put time and effort into updating my website and having the website if I have social media? Now, if you have been on my social media, so through Instagram with me for a little bit, I have answered this a little bit, but I want to dive into a little bit more detail. Now, because this question is very much so specific as hell, this is not going to be a long episode. And I love that for us because now you have more time to go do other things, but you can also learn something really quick about websites and social media and whatnot. So I'm going to dive into a couple different things. So the first thing I want to talk about is one, this is a great question because a lot of people have this problem. A lot of people that I talk with have a social media account, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Most people are on Instagram, and they will say, my Instagram does so well, and that's where I get clients from. Quote unquote, that's where I get clients from. So why should I have a website at all? Or what is the point of investing money into my website? And that's why I'm saying it's a great question, like point blank period. A lot of people think this way because what is the point, right? If everything is good and everything is dandy on Instagram, why does it matter if I have a website or not, right? So let's talk about the first concept of Instagram could go away tomorrow. So the thing about Instagram and the thing about the content you put on Instagram is that it could literally be taken away tomorrow. One, it's a free app. 2, it could break. 3, it could be banned or just simply discontinued. 4, your account could be taken away. I've seen people literally lose their entire account. And I think that's it. Those are the 4. Yes. So those are the 4 things that are like, social media is not a guarantee. And that's a huge thing to understand. So even if you have the biggest audience on social media and you have all the educational content in the world and you have all the trust on social media, understand that that can go away in a second. So having something outside of social media is so important, because if you were to lose all of your stuff on Instagram, or Instagram went away, what do you have, right? So that's number one. And I'm going to talk about what that might look like as far as getting them to be more than one thing a little bit later, because I want to dive into a couple more things first. The other thing that I want to talk about is content. So on Instagram, or social media in general, you are always fighting against the algorithm. So you're fighting against something that you have no control over, right? So you do not have control over the fact that your post is not shown. And that's frustrating, right? So if someone is looking at your website, they're on your website. There's no fighting against anything. What they see is what they get. You can't, you personally could hide things, but it's not like they have to, get served your website because they had the chance of being served it, like a social media post. Now, on that same note, social media is not really evergreen. So content that you create on your website is evergreen because it can just reappear on the internet over and over again. So let's just say we write a blog post and we have an Instagram post. When we write an Instagram post, and we're going to write this post back in 2020, okay? So we wrote a blog post and we wrote an Instagram post in 2020. How many people can honestly raise their hands and say that I will scroll back into 2020 to read a post? Most people will never scroll back to 2020 on your feed to read a post you made in 2020. It's not going to happen. The cool thing, though, is that on the internet, if you published a blog in 2020, that blog can show up over and over and over again on a Google search in 2023. So same topic, not necessarily the same exact post, but same topic. One is evergreen and one is not. Do we see what one could contribute to your growth? The one that's on your website, the blog. So that's also a hugely important thing that we have to make sure we understand. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on is when you have a website and you have content on the website, you're able to develop trust in a different way. Or break through that trust barrier in a different way. So on social media, it's very easy to see your personality. It's great because you get to see your face, yada, yada. The cool thing about websites is that they can then make other jumps around your site to make more data points in their head about you and your business. And also it's a way to get your services in front of their face. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to get your services in front of someone's face on social media, unless you post about it, right? So if you post about it, cool. But if you don't have a website, you're not really going to be pointing them anywhere. So we'll go into that in just a second. But on that website, if they're able to, take a blog post, read it, they can then dive into other parts of your business and see what services you offer, and then probably hire you at some point in time for a service that they see that's on your website that you say you do. So I want you to think about the fact that we have an Instagram bio link, right? So typically don't use Linktree. It's a page on your website with a bunch of buttons on it. And then those buttons point to places. So whether it's to book with you, to check out your services, to download a freebie, whatever it may be. Imagine a world where that didn't exist. So if you make an Instagram post about, the best way to strengthen your glutes, and then you have a glute program that you developed, what are you going to do? Tell people to DM you and that's it? Like they can't just go to your bio and then buy the program if it's pre-existing, or they can't just go to your bio and book a discovery call. There's no link there if you don't have a website. So the thing is it's really important to make sure you have that website because it gives people a way to pay you in a roundabout way, and it develops that trust. I will say wholeheartedly that if I am talking to someone on Instagram and I'm talking about a service that they offer, if they don't have a website, I have next to zero trust for them. I'm like, you have not put in the effort to make a website. So why should I trust you and give you my money through a DM on Instagram, right? Or like a PayPal request. I don't love that. So being able to take a website and put your services on a website develops trust in such a different manner than just having a social media platform. So The answer is and always will be that even if you have a social media following, and as incredible as social media can be, like that's where my business started, was on Instagram. Like I'm here with you. Like I started my business on Instagram. So social media can be amazing, but we also want to make sure that we have a website to not only be the place where we are able to build more trust, but give people a place to pay us, give people a way to learn more about us, make sure that we're able to own our content and not get it randomly taken away. We don't need to fight an algorithm, and our content on that website is evergreen and can just keep showing up, which is huge. Now, the biggest thing that I want to address here is that when we talk about Instagram dying, or Facebook, if that's your platform of choice, dying and not coming back, a way to take your content off your Instagram is to obviously make blogs, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you in this episode that is not enough for a blog. So making your Instagram post into a blog post, it's not enough characters, it's not enough words, it's not enough content for a really good optimized blog. However, I have taken Instagram posts and I have made a Google Doc for people where literally I take the post and I literally take the captions and I make a Google Doc for people. So it's a running Google Doc of every post that they've ever made. So we literally are taking the captions, putting them in a doc, and then moving on to the next post. And if it's a quote graphic or something like that, we can download the graphic and put the graphic with it, all the things. But what I'm saying here is that you should be pulling your content from Instagram and putting it somewhere else. If the only option you want to take advantage of right now is to make a blog post of every single Instagram post you've made, cool. I'm not going to say like, that's not good enough. That is something, I love it. My recommendation to you would just be to try to elaborate on it, try to put topics that are similar into one blog post. So if you have a bunch of posts about knee rehab, put those knee rehab posts in one blog post on your website. So as you're starting to pull things, just make sure you're categorizing, putting things together, and then making a blog post with all of the things inside of it. So that is just a way to take the content you're already developing on Instagram, because I hear you, you're working hella hard. You're working really hard to put content on Instagram, and I am here with you on that. And I love that. So just make sure you're doing something else with that content and putting it somewhere else, so that if Instagram were to ever die and you lose all your content, you technically won't lose your content because it's housed somewhere else. So that is essentially my answer to the question of, do I need a website if I don't have, or if I have social media and social media does really, really well for me? You definitely need a website. Now, if you don't want to spend a gazillion dollars on a website, a custom website, and you don't want to design a website for yourself, always remember I do have Squarespace templates for movement professionals. I will link them in the show notes here. They are the best solution for people who have enough time to just insert their copy, the text on their site, want a plug and play design. So you're literally just putting your photos in, putting your text in, and you can make it live. Like that's all you need to do with these templates. It's such a blessing because you don't have to design things and you don't have to mess around with Googling things and YouTubing things, because all the tutorial videos come with the website. So for what it's worth, that's a hugely popular solution within my business for folks who want a website but don't have the ability to pay, $5,000 plus for a custom site and want to be able to develop their website ASAP. That is all I have for you. I was so happy this question came up because it's not the first time. And when it used to come up, I didn't have the podcast. So I would always try to relay it a little bit on Instagram, but Instagram obviously makes it a little bit more difficult to relay the whole message. So super thankful that this person asked this question. I absolutely love it. I hope if you ever had this question in the past that this has answered it for you. And I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear if you start to move your posts somewhere else, if you need accountability, or if you want to celebrate and just say, I moved over 10 posts today. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. I would love to just celebrate you and make sure that you are being held accountable to move your stuff over, because it will be one of the best things you do, especially if something ever happens to Instagram in general or your Instagram account. And obviously we don't hope that happens. None of us would hope that happens, but at least if it does, you would be covered. So yes, have a website, even if social media is super successful. And if you need help with that, please reach out. Always remember I have free discovery calls, so sign up for one of those if you have questions. And thank you so much for being here. I will catch you next time.